No way around it. Now, code, like I said, is a form of secret communication or hidden communication, or it takes something special to be able to understand, or to comprehend, I should say. Well, not understand, because we're not in a legal setting here. And they call that legal language, or that law language. And those people that say, oh, it might be legal, but it's not lawful. You need to get away from law. The law is the whole beginning of this giant freaking mess. Right? I mean, there's even a hint in that. Law. Right? L-A-W. Wall. Right? It's no good putting walls behind. A lot of people, I understand a lot of people like Trump because they like some of the things that he says, and he sounds like he's not part of the establishment and all that kind of stuff. I get that. I understand that. People have been doing that every 4 years for 200 and some odd years, thinking that they're going to find some kind of change in a political system that is there to deceive them. And what does Trump want to do? He wants to build this big wall, right? He wants to build the new Great Wall of China. Or actually, what he was really actually doing is building a new Berlin Wall. Right? Now there's a great speech that people cheered about. And all these cheers when Ronald Reagan got up and says, Mr. Gorbachev, if you want peace, if you want prosperity, come here to this wall. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, right? And people cheered, and they didn't want the wall there, and because it was dividing the people. See, that's what DC, okay? Divide and conquer. Washington, D.C. is dividing and conquer. The Republican, Democrat, Catholic, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, all that. It's all divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. Deceive the people, divide and conquer. So people cheered when that wall was torn down, right? People here in the United States, we cheered when that wall came down. We felt like something really very good had just happened, right? And now we got people saying we're going to build one here. We're gonna divide the people here too. More divide and conquer. Calling people illegal aliens like they come from another planet. Right? Little green men. I know I'm not supposed to say this. I'm not. But there's your little green men, right? Well, this one's more kind of grayish, right? A gray alien, maybe? They're just, that's just what it is. It's just, and they got us running around with the little green men, and we have no idea. Most people have no idea. Okay, so that's called legalese, right? Legalese. And it's got the same ease as like Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, all this, right? It's not, and it doesn't have anything to do with those other languages, except it's letting you know that it is a different language than English, right? And this language was designed specifically to deceive people. And they show you. It's right there for everybody to see. It's hidden in plain sight, right? Maybe I shouldn't say this either, because I don't know if it's actually true or not. But maybe what kind of earth we live on is actually hidden in, plain sight. Maybe. How's a wood planer work, right? It makes the wood flat. I don't know if that's true or not. Couldn't tell you. Right. So legalese, right? Secret code is a secret, and they write in code, codified law. They use legalese when they do it. And why would you write something in a language and make different definitions when you could, if you're trying to be upfront and honest if you're trying to be honest with people about the types of laws and words that you were using, you would just use the same language. And if you didn't have a word for something, you wouldn't hide a new definition into a word so that people didn't have any idea. You would make a new word. But they don't do that. They hide the definitions. Now, why? Because it's about control, and the best way to control people is through their belief systems. Right? Belief systems. So they lie to people, and they say things like, we're free people and it's a free country, but we know none of that's true. We have some freedoms, and we're free in some ways, but we're not free people, and it's not a free country, not by any stretch of the imagination. Now, here, let's look at it like this. Okay, again, they write all these laws because it's about control and it's about money. And the worship of people above you, even though nobody's actually above you, right? I mean, we can say somebody might be standing on something higher than you, somebody might be standing on a mountain, or somebody might be standing on, anything. But that doesn't put them above you. They may be standing on something, and that makes them taller momentarily than you. Or maybe they're actually taller than you, but because a person is taller than you, does that make them better than you? No. So why do they do it? Why do they write in code? Because they have something to hide. Why do they write in another language called legalese? Because they have something to hide. Now, some of you might remember when they talk about those guys getting together on Jekyll Island, talking about how they're going to control the world and different policies and things that they're going to institute. Hide. They were hiding on Jekyll Island. Jekyll and Hyde, right? So you have the nice face of the politician. Hey, I love you. I'm here for you, right? And then they go in the back room and say, man, let's get as much as we can out of these people while they're still living, right? And we'll tell them, just keep working real hard for us so that we get to live in heaven. And then when you die, you can go to heaven. How do you know you live in a police state? There's police. And how do you know when those police are Nazis? Right? Well, look. DC. You can also write that like DC or DC. Now, this is a prefix. It means no or not. Not with all words or every word, but it does often mean either no or not. Like, well, you can think of a word, demoralize or something like that. It means no moral or not moral. You're taking away people's sense of well-being or something like that. So, DC, not C, right? Nazi. Nazi. Nazi? I don't know how that goes. Something like that. Nazi, right? And how do you know when we live in a Nazi state? Maybe the police that are very cold people, they might have German Shepherds. Right? They might have German Shepherds for their police dogs. Maybe that's how you know that they're Nazis. And no, I'm not saying that every police is a Nazi, and I'm not saying all that kind of stuff. And I used to say to myself, hey, you know, it's good that we have, you know, it's good that there's at least some good police. But I think if you're a cop, a police, somebody in law enforcement or like that, I used to think to myself, hey, you know, that it's good. I mean, at least there's somebody that kind of help kind of keep it. The problem is when that gives people something to defend about the police state. That's why we have state police. There's all those different things. That should give us enough clue to say, hey, man, it is. I mean, look, we have border checkpoints, don't we? And we have, well, anyways, German Shepherd police dogs, right? I was going to say something else, but anyways, okay. Maybe I should just kind of. Maybe I should just kind of end there. But I would say this. If you think this is not a fascist, socialist, Nazi government, well, we already talked about the Nazi part of it. That gives you some clues. And what they do after World War II, then they bring a bunch of Nazi sympathizers or stuff over here and have them make them part of the government or something like that. Now, of course, then all of a sudden we ended up with German Shepherd police dogs and police that look like Nazis and beat people. Oh, and that's what I was saying. If you're a good cop, get out of that business. Because we know that's what it is. You're on the side of the road conducting business and forcing people against their will. A lot of times for things that you shouldn't be, I mean, you shouldn't even bother people for. Now, I've gotten mad at some people that were rude on the road. There was a guy, I don't know, he said, I said, hey man, watch it. He goes, I don't care. And I said, well, that's the problem. You don't care. And he was very happy to admit that he didn't care how he was driving or anything. All right. Those kind of people exist from time to time. That guy would have been I wouldn't be surprised if he actually was a cop. But anyways, if you're a cop and you feel like you're a good person, and you look at other cops and you go, man, they overstep the line all the time. Every time they force people to do something or put humans in a cage. That's a disgusting, sickening thing. Humans behind barbed wire fences. That's a sickening, disgusting thing. I'm not saying that there's not people that don't need some kind of help or, you know, find some way to help them be nice. But the government is what created people and put those people in those positions usually in the very first place. Or not the first place, but the government is the people that created those situations. And then they blame people for wanting to survive and live. Right. And going through whatever means that they need to ensure that they do get to survive, or that their kids have diapers, or whatever the different things is. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of different things that people do things for. And it's not that they want to do those things. Listen, I've had that kind of situation in my life before too. And it's not that people want to do things. You know, people don't want to take other things from people just because they feel like they want to hurt somebody else's feelings. Now, there might be some people, but they've been desensitized by a government that teaches them that life isn't precious and valuable beyond anything that you can compare it to. We say we shouldn't judge people. I think the Bible teaches thou shalt not judge lest ye be judged. The reason that is because we're not supposed to judge people. And the government lets us know because they turn people into judges and they put them in juries. They put them in jury. An injury is what? It's hurtful. Right? We don't put people in juries and make them judge other people based on laws that in many cases is immoral. It's wrong for us to do that. And that's not our place. Now, if someone is just violent beyond control, like most police, I'm not even going to say most police, but if someone is violent beyond control, and that's not, like I was saying, if you're a good cop, get out of that business. So that there is nobody in there we can justify and say, oh, well, you know, there are some good cops. That kind of puts a Band-Aid on, that's like putting a Band-Aid on a blown off leg. It makes no sense and it doesn't do any good. Okay. If you have believed in government, I comprehend how that can happen. I used to be a great believer in government. In fact, I would like to be president just long enough so that I could give the country back to the people. Of course, I'd probably end up like Kennedy then, so I mean, that may not be possible to do it that way. But we can do it. The people can have the country. We can have the country again, right? All we got to do is teach these people in power how good love feels. They got to be loved, right? Instead of tricking our kids, right? You think somebody in the government wasn't behind toy army men? Right? Now you think about that as a toy. You're having, you know, people that buy, and I bought them, and I played with them when I was young, because I guess I hadn't had my spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, or spiritual. Maybe my spirit wasn't alive, or just, I don't know, whatever it was that we didn't think at or I didn't think then. But to give kids an army man to play with and say, look, here's some toys so that you can go imagine people shooting and killing each other. Is that how we want our kids to use their imagination? I think it's not. You know? That's part of brainwashing to DC. It's all part of that plan. It was all planned from the beginning. This country was founded on the ideas that all men were created equal. These were people those people owned slaves and told women that they didn't count. I don't know what to say other than that. Now, I don't know, maybe that's not the truth. Maybe all of that, maybe all of history is such a giant lie that we don't understand any of it. That could be. But I know it's very simple for everybody to say, hey, we're not going to do any of that stuff anymore. There are people out there that like doing the types of jobs that you do. There's other people out there that hate doing their jobs to do, but they know a job that they'd love to do. And you hear people, a lot of times, especially people who've gotten very successful in their business, they would say, oh, it's not about the money. I do it because I love it. You know, the money comes, but I mean, that's just because I'm doing what I like to do. Right? When people are passionate and there is joy in what it is they want to do, then they get the riches of a good life often because of it. But it shouldn't be because of money. Okay? We should find another way to do this. And, you know, there's all kinds of ideas about how other types of, I don't want to say economies, but that's what people call it. But I mean, look, the government puts the name con on people that they put in jails and stuff like that. Oftentimes, because the people told the truth. Right? Now, you have Congress, which is a divided house. You have the Constitution, right? And you have thought control. Where's the real con? Yeah. So, there's something to think about. Anyways, I'm here because I love you. You know, like, subscribe. If you'd like more videos, you know, put a like down there and say something nice. Maybe give me an idea of something you'd like me to talk about. Because I've been able to find things and all kinds of things that people wouldn't often think about. But